Hey there, just wanting to do a quick video here. Probably won't be that quick here. Just doing a video here to kind of go over my desk setup. Now, you would have just got a pan and scan right at the start of the video, kind of showing the way I got stuff set up. Not minimal in any way, shape, or form, but also not super expensive how I've done this over time and how I've kind of built things up. So just kind of wanted to go through what I've done, what I've got here, hopefully give some people some ideas on different ways you can do things. A lot of the setup videos you see on the internet with the minimalistic setups, they're awesome. I love watching those videos, but it can be darn expensive to be that minimal. It doesn't always work for everybody. So just want to do something a little bit different and the way I kind of set my stuff up, and just kind of go through bits and pieces on how I've got different areas set up within this office and how I use each different piece and how a bunch of it is multifunctional. I can use it for other things besides its main purpose, just to give more flexibility. And that was really my core design requirement when I'm building all these different things over time, was flexibility. So we'll kind of get into it here, kind of go through the different pieces, and just as a indication of what I've kind of spent in here, it's not huge money. Almost everything in here is being bought on sale and have been bought over years. For example, I've got a monitor up there that is almost 11 years old there now. So it's stuff I've bought over time and nothing really expensive. If I look at all the screens that I have here, so that pair there, this 4K TV, that screen and that screen and that screen, all totaled, I think it's about $1,150 Canadian I've spent over several years to buy all those screens. So again, it's not cheap like just buying a single $150 really cheap monitor, but I got a lot of flexibility out of this, and it's way cheaper than, say, getting a super ultra wide Samsung G9 or G7 or whatever it is. So a little background. This room, having the room, is the luxury out of this whole setup. So having the luxury of space. Lots of people, when we started working from home over the last few years, dining room tables, kitchen tables, just the corner of the living room, that kind of thing. I've had the luxury of this particular room here in our house. When we built the house back in 2004, before the markets went stupid, we made sure to build a room here in the basement that I could use for my computer stuff. I'm a computer geek from way back, from years and years and years and years. And I think my first computer I bought in like 1991. So we're going back quite a ways. And I've always had to have my computer stuff. So we built a room within the house so I could have my computer stuff out of the way. And that's what this room is. So as we've gone through everything, what's been in this room has changed, it's been modified and things like that. But we started with this room being available right from the beginning. So that is definitely a luxury I've got, and that's one of the real great things that I had as not being an issue for me when we went into the pandemic and started working from home. I was all pre-set up. So anyway, this room, it's in the basement, but we are a raised bungalow, so that's a window to the outside. That's about, let's say, about a foot above ground level there. Nice big window, lots of light. That's south facing. Gives me lots of light during the day. And then I've got this window going out to our rec room, kind of a recreation area within the basement. We got the Bowflex in there, the treadmill's out there. But this window allows sunlight to go across there. So essentially we can get light, outdoor sunlight, into our basement just right through there. So it's nice there. What are the things we do when we built this room? Well, computer guy, but also communication stuff. So we ran a bunch of cabling within the house when we built. We put network cable, we put in phone cable, cable TV cable, all that kind of stuff. But this room we knew was designated to be the office. So we got a whole whack of network jacks that I put in. So we got a whole whack of places where we can just plug stuff in. Started off in this room with basically some folding leg tables, just put in a big L and things like that. But then we put in some permanent desks. So we put in this big permanent desk here, which is actually a kitchen counter, matched with that one too. We got those home improvement store. I think it might have been a Home Depot, might have been Rona, which is a Canadian store. Basically, yeah, those were kind of ends and partially used kind of things So we didn't have to get them cut down. They fit in the room perfectly well. So we were able just to bring those home, mount them on the wall with 2x4s against the back that they screwed into, and a bunch of these kind of furniture legs that some attachments that bolt in there. Then the pandemic happened and we had to work from home. So the nice thing about the pandemic piece for me was that we basically had a very short turnaround when they told us, okay, you're gonna go work from home, grab your monitors, grab your laptops, go. I left the office and I had my stuff set up at home pretty much 15 minutes after I got home, because I had network jacks, I had outlets ready, I had desk space. I was just up and running and it was not bad. So then I spent the next 2.5 years essentially tweaking it and making changes and adjusting it as we went along. And then there was more changes as we started moving towards a hybrid model where we did some days in the office and some days at home. We did some tweaking over time. So, and what I did over time and during those tweaks is, if I made an improvement for efficiency, I generally left it, even if I decided that it wasn't working and I had to go try something else. So as I've gone along, I've gotten more pieces and additions and more flexibility. I can configure this space in a lot of different ways to use lots of different equipment in here. So lots of flexibility, and that was my main goal going for this room. So when we first went back to the office, I initially set up so that I could reuse my personal setup with my work stuff. So these two monitors here, they're a matching pair I bought from Costco. I'll get into the details of each one of these, and I'm just going to kind of give the overview right now. These two monitors, display port each, 2 HDMIs, and a VGA. The display ports go to my main computer. The HDMIs, first day of the HDMIs, come out and they go into underneath this desk, I have a USB 3.0 docking station for a laptop. So what I could do on work days is bring my work laptop, shift this this keyboard back, put down my work laptop, run a power cable to it, and run one USB cable up, and it would give me both of these monitors off that laptop. And then that guy has DVI and a VGA, and the DVI goes to through an adapter into this guy. The VGA, I've just got cable running behind there. For work, I have my normal laptop for all my business stuff. Then there's another super secured thing I need to do, and it's another laptop that has some additional security on it that basically I used an adapter off it that I could run it into that monitor up there. So I just basically put it in a stand, closed, used a wireless keyboard and mouse, and just kind of hooked there. And that was actually really good. But same as having the work stuff encroach on my personal space during the pandemic part, that was, you can't get encroach more on personal space than actually reusing the same stuff. So it wasn't super great. It was efficient, it worked, but it wasn't necessarily great for my mental health. So I did some other stuff, like I've got this 4K TV, $325 Hisense from Costco, but I've got it set up. It's hooked to this computer, but it's also got another HDMI out that I ran down to this tray. And the second HDMI port from that monitor runs out as well. So I can put my laptop down on this desk and basically hook it up to the 4K TV and this vertical monitor and work over here. So it's a bit more of a separation. And it was not bad. And then it also made it easier to use the secure laptop on there, because I could just push this keyboard out of the way and just use the keyboard for that when it was necessary. But I don't need to use it 24/7 for work, only, maybe an hour a day kind of deal. So it was convenient for not being in the way and reduces the encroachment a little bit. And that was not bad. It was good. It still encroached on my space. Super flexible again, but I just needed something else. So that's when I moved over here. I got this 2-pack of monitors from Costco for, it was like $300, something like that. Got the cheap monitor stands from Amazon, and I've got a USB-C docking station. It's USB 3.1 over USB-C. Just plugs into there. It's got dual HDMI, drives those, drives the webcam, and a few other accessories there, like the mouse and things like that. And I can just basically power cable, one cable, full setup, super flexible. Anything with USB-C can drive that. So my personal laptop, if I got a guest over and they need a place to work, they can use it as well. And then my secure laptop just sits right there. It's out of the way when I need it. I got a just wireless mouse there and I just kind of pull it off its little stand, pop it open. I just use its own screen. I don't use an external monitor on it anymore. Just because I only use it for a little bit and I'm just looking at stuff. I'm not actually doing super amount of work on that. So super flexible that way. And this is working great. I've been doing it this way probably for about 2 to 3 months. Really intend to do much more changes, but that's how I'm kind of using and keeping the spaces configured separately from each other so that when I sit down to work, I'm not thinking about my personal stuff. When I sit down on my personal stuff, I'm not thinking about the work stuff. Flexibility. Now at this point, I'm going to get into each of the pieces, each of the desks, how they're all set up, kind of show a bit more and talk about the different pieces that I've got involved with it and just how it all kind of works together. To start over here on the work side, I'm going to work my way counterclockwise. Everything here is relatively inexpensive, bought super cheap. It does not add up to a lot of money and I've just kind of bought it over time, but they're all decently good quality that they just kind of are going to be lasting for quite a while. So that's nice. So yeah, up here I've got a Logitech webcam for all the meetings I do at work. Got a monitor light here. I just got the power cable for it back in behind so I can turn that on. 2-pack of Philips monitors. Just got HDMI and VGA in these guys. They're only 24-inch 1920 by 1080p. Nothing fancy. I think there's 70 hertz refresh rate. So again, nothing fancy, not gaming monitors, but I'm not sure 240 hertz refresh rate is really going to give me much in Excel. So they work super good for what they are. They're a nice patching pair, very small bezels, nice and clean install. Matching pair for monitor stands here. It's just a pair of those that I got off Amazon, bamboo and some metal. Super nice, lots of flexibility. Lets me get it nice and high that when I'm sitting here, basically I can merge the bezels between the laptop and the monitors in just one big working space, so that's super nice. Other things I've gotten during the pandemic, I don't like using headphones and that kind of stuff for 8 hours a day. So I've got this Plantronics USB speakerphone, speaker and microphone. I quite often use a microphone from something else instead of that one just because it gets a little echoey in here. It's made for a bigger room, a different room. And yeah, just a variety of other little things like notepad, calculator, things like that. And then just my laptop on a desk pad with the mouse. And in underneath here, if I can get in there and see it, there's a that's where the USB-C docking station is, right in there. It's 2 HDMI outs, so that made it a little more expensive just because I wanted to have multiple HDMI outs. But yeah, everything else plugs into that. And it all just gets powered from the laptop. Works really well. Super nice, super clean configuration. Underneath this desk, got some power bars and things like that. I won't necessarily get into the cable management under there right now, but I've just got kind of a tray, a bunch of L hooks essentially tied in underneath here to run some of the cabling, that kind of stuff, and a bunch of Velcro straps. Here on this side, I've got a curtain kind of stapled up underneath. There's a leg right there in the center, but yeah, it just gives some visual separation. I keep some stuff stored under there. But it's back a little ways, so I'm never going to kick anything, but it just gives a visual separation from the clutter. Got lots of space here for my legs, so it's good, but then I can also kind of shift to the side without banging anything, so it works pretty well. Shifting over a little bit, wireless mouse and the secure laptop just with the USB-C type power brick essentially, and yeah, I just kind of pull it out, sit it here, use the mouse, and use it when I need to. Kind of almost becomes an extension of this. So all my work stuff, one spot. Super good, super clean, and it doesn't encroach on my personal space. So that's good. This here, we got a stand I built ages ago, TV tabletop. I think it's pine, and some copper piping that I soldered together in different ways to make kind of almost a standing desk. And I've just got the Samsung, it's a network printer. It's color laser. We've had it for years from my wife's business, and it's been fantastic to keep running during the pandemic for the kids' schoolwork whenever they need to print stuff out and stuff. So that's been good. It's also, we've been able to get new toner cartridges basically online for relatively cheap. So we managed to just keep it running. That's nice. Underneath is I bought this laptop in 2002. No, 2012, not 2002. Wow. 2012, 20-year laptop would be crazy. But no, it's a 2012, so it's almost 10 years old. It will be in about a week or two from when recording this. And basically, all I run it for right now is running backups. It's essentially my NAS. So that's what these hard drives are set up on there with it. So it basically runs my backups, storing stuff locally on these hard drives. I keep a couple copies locally here of any of my pictures, photos, all that kind of stuff. And also I have an online place outside the house that I store everything. So I run my backups. I have those there, plus also another location where I've got another small NAS with some hard drives that we run the backups for everything. So it's a couple locations here in the house for the data and one external. So fairly well protected for losing data and stuff like that. And as we continue on, we got this lamp here. I guess I should mention with this lamp, that lamp, that lamp, and that lamp, they all have smart light bulbs, smart LED light bulbs in them. All controllable by my Google Home stuff and by the app. So they're color changing. I just got them set to a light white. They're not super bright bulbs, but they give a lot of extra light here in the winter when we need to. If you're starting before the sun rises and things like that, just gives a nice little ambient glow in the room. There's a monitor stand here with glass and metal. Again, Amazon, it was a 2-pack, the one there, one on the other side. And just a variety of different knickknacks, gifts, and things like that I've gotten over the years. And it's just on this desk here, which is a similar piece of wood to what I have over on the other side by the TV. And it's basically just a project board I got from Home Depot, and puts my IKEA legs on it, and it just slides underneath there. Gives a nice lower shelf. I mean, I could raise it probably and trim it out and put it at the same height of the other desks to use as an additional work surface. But right now it's just kind of nice as a display thing. Yeah, again, different knickknacks and pieces that I've seen for gifts and things like that. This laptop is an old HP Stream, essentially a netbook, and I've just got it kind of running as Chrome OS Flex right now. I've set it up to, and it's really just running as a picture frame. Yeah, there's the other monitor tray with some other knickknacks and some other gifts and things like that I've gone on here. Just a variety of different things that either talk to trips or gifts or things like that. And yeah, I love the unicorn meat. And underneath this, nice blue curtain here. And again, I've got stuff underneath there between some old electronics, a paper shredder, paper for the printer, just a variety of stuff that I'm just able to kind of keep hidden and clean. And yeah, this works really well there. So we continue on. We've got a few other things that are gifts or things like that. Stuff from Egypt that my uncle spent some time in Egypt, and those were things I kind of inherited. My Doctor Who TARDIS lunchbox, so that was a gift. Different pictures, and just a variety of knickknacks. A little bit of clutter up there. And just a few other things. Candles for, in the winter, just get a little extra. Don't actually need heat in here, but it's just the ambient warmth. Just nice little clock that's got some gears and things like that in it. That's kind of cool. I bought this mouse pad in Rome right by the Colosseum. So that's 20 plus years ago now. And then just a variety of books and notepads and USB dongles and thumb drives and things like that. Just storage for a whole bunch of that stuff. More paper, pens, things like that. Notepad for my normal work stuff. Just a variety of things like that. I'll go back into the main PC in a second. I'll skim past all this and come over here. So starting on this side, this is an old desk that we had for years, I believe. It's been in my wife's family for quite a while. I just kind of repurposed it to be something to kind of rest this project board on. And one of the things I do use with it is use the drawer as basically battery storage, chargers, things like that. So it's all in a nice convenient place to put stuff. And then we move over to the big 4K monitor here. 50-inch 4K, 60 hertz, Hisense from Costco for like $325. Nothing major, nothing super fantastic. But it's Roku, so it's a smart TV, and it does a bunch of stuff built in. So I could do ambient videos like this, which is on the channel somewhere. And, a variety of different things. I just got this big mouse pad from Amazon to put on top here to get a nice smooth surface. The nice thing is the height of this is a great place for me to just sit and write. So if I bring a tablet down here, notepad, it's a nice place to just lean and write. So yeah, and then the 4K TV there, it is on a stand with wheels, so I can move it back and forth. Right now I've got it set low enough that there's only a little bit of a gap down here, so it really kind of hides all the cables. And what it allows me to do is have it back a little bit further. When I just use the built-in legs, the TV would kind of be sitting about here. So about halfway through the desk, and it really didn't give a lot of room to be able to do anything on this desk. And it was kind of too close to actually use it as a monitor. So put it on that stand, move it back, and it gives me a lot of flexibility. I can roll it out to the rec room if I want to, and a variety of things like that. So yeah, so like I said, it's a smart TV. It's got a network connection on it, but it also has HDMI. So HDMI, the first HDMI comes out to this computer. So I can use it on this computer. I don't all the time. I stay focused usually using these monitors on this computer, but I can do, if I want to do something 4K or I want to look at a 4K video I've recorded or something like that, I just change the input and enable it, and away we go. Otherwise, it's generally just using the smart TV stuff. I also have an Xbox One S down here, and then there's additional HDMI as well that's run out to underneath here that I could basically plug a computer or something in here with the HDMI, or just sit it on here and basically use it as a monitor, which I have done. Very, very convenient to have this TV and that big screen. Plus it looks cool. An old Samsung Galaxy S4. Don't do too much with it right now, but it is used to control my basically the interface into my Google Home here. If I don't want to do voice commands, I can just pull that off and use it as a remote. Just get into the app and hit some buttons instead of talking. So there's my computer. It was a pre-built. I used to build my own computers years and years ago. I want to do it again, but partway through the pandemic is when I decided I needed to update my computer, and getting graphics cards was impossible. Yeah, so I ended up getting this one because it had a decent graphics card at the time, a 2070 Super. It's a Ryzen 3 3700X. I've done some updates to add some extra SSD, and it's got 32 gigs RAM in there now, things like that. So it is a decently good machine for doing editing and stuff like that. Not super high end now, but with pandemic pricing, it was at least something I could find that I could justify the cost of it. But yeah, out of it, it's got the 4 video outputs, one to the 4K, that vertical, that one, and that one. Other USB hard drives connected to it as well for additional storage, plus also the stuff I got out in the network. There's another weird little variety of things here. Charger for my Garmin running watch, some reading glasses, some blue blocking glasses, fidget spinner, and some silly putty, because sometimes you just need to squeeze the life out of something during meetings. Some earbuds and little light, USB lights. This one's kind of fun. This one, just very simple. Plug it in, and nice little bright light. Plug that into a USB battery bank and you get a nice little flashlight. So I usually travel with 1 or 2 of those. Again, Amazon type stuff. I think that light was IKEA. It's not super bright, but there it is. So then going on to the main computer here. I guess as I mentioned, I do have this pull-out keyboard on here. There's just kind of a leather-ish pad on top of it. And just I have a keyboard there right now, but it's not actually plugged into anything. But there is a little bit of room to leave something on there, roll it back in and out. The main computer, as I talked about, that's there. I've got this newer microphone on a pull-out microphone arm for if I do any streaming or I'm recording with the microphone. Nice and flexible. It's a condenser microphone. Nice blue, goes well with the blues in the room and that kind of stuff. It is a condenser microphone. Cable runs out to a Behringer audio interface that gives me the USB into the computer and all my power and stuff like that to drive this sucker. So the nice thing I like about this guy is that being the condenser microphone, I can have it sit back a little way. It doesn't need to be in the frame to get decent audio. So that's kind of nice. I can kind of keep it back out of the way. So that's fun. Up here, I got the lamp, like I said. It's a USB powered kind of LED spot with some Kleenex on there, just act as a mild diffuser. Get a little bit more light when I've got using webcam, things like that. More spotlight. That's all kind of mounted to a more rigid vertical stand that'll hold 4 monitors in a 2x2 configuration. I've just got like a 3-in-1 or 2-in-1 right now. Not a huge amount of flexibility. There are a bunch of joints to be able to move back and forth, but up and down is a little more difficult because it's all screw in. So yeah, this is an older stand that I've probably had about 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. It's robust and it's worked, but you know, if I was building it again, I'd get ones with the gas struts that would allow you to do a lot more adjustments up and down, left and right, and things like that. Allow you to configure your monitors a little bit better. In between the monitors here, I've got a GoPro Hero 7 Black. It's plugged into a Elgato Cam Link. That is my webcam, and that's one of the reasons why I have that spotlight, because the GoPro's not great in lower light. It does get a little bit grainy, I find, even playing with some of the ISO settings. So a lot more light and kind of brighten things up. So the GoPro works a little bit better. In behind there, you can see some cabling. It looks like some of my Velcro straps have kind of slid down. Those should have been up and hidden a little bit better, but I'll have to clean that up. Additionally, so this monitor and this monitor, matching pair bought from Costco for under $300 early in the pandemic. 24-inch, 1920 by 1080. Nothing super fantastic. I think they're a 75 hertz refresh rate. But the nice thing about them is the multitude of inputs. As I said before, they're a DisplayPort, 2 HDMIs, and a VGA each. So lots of flexibility to plug into some of my legacy stuff, plus anything new, essentially. And so it's kind of nice. I got this one as the vertical. I usually will have something like OneNote up on here where I'm keeping notes about what I'm doing, especially if I'm, like, say, editing a video. I'll keep my notes on it about what I want to do next or what I want to change, that kind of thing. This one I just use as my main monitor if I'm playing things or whatever that I'm not trying to play in 4K, and just do my normal playing and that kind of stuff. On this one, my main monitor. And then this one here, this is, it'll be almost 11 years old. It'll be 11 years old in January, or I bought it 11 years ago in January. And yeah, it's an old Dell 1920 by 1080, but it just keeps going. And I think it's DVI and VGA inputs, so not a lot of flexibility, but adapters let me plug into anything new, so that's kind of nice. On top of that, I got a monitor light. It matches the monitor light that I've got on the work ones on the other side. So I can get lots of nice light down here at my desk space, so it doesn't look too dark in here anyway. Other things here, you can see in behind 2 speakers. Now, if you want to do some archaeology and dig up what these are, they're Cambridge Soundworks. It's a 4.1 speaker system. Ancient. Literally ancient. I think they're my brother's that he had got the set, and you can see the coloring of them. They match the old school computer beigey yellow kind of stuff, and yeah, they kind of matched the old CRT monitors used to use them with, but they still run. So the nice thing is for cable management here too, so this countertop, normally if you say used in the kitchen or bathroom, you'd run a bead of silicone across here to give you your water seal. I wasn't worried about water seal, so I didn't put that there, but that gave me a nice little tiny gap. I can run the thin speaker wire in underneath there, and yeah, just kind of runs over there and behind that one, and then they go around the edge of the desk and down towards the computer. That ties into this. This is a volume control for the speakers. So it's supposed to be a 4.1 system. Unfortunately, my computer only gives stereo. I don't have the inputs or the outputs to proper 4.1. So there's front, left and right, rear, left and right, and a subwoofer. What I've got is basically a splitter so that the 2 lefts and the 2 rights are getting the same channel. So there's no front and rear. It's just dual left, dual right. So there's 2 of them there. 2 other ones are underneath the desk. I've got them screwed in underneath the desk. It's firing down a little bit. So it gives me a little bit of a separation of the sound. And then down on the bottom is the subwoofer. So yeah. Other things here, USB 3.0 hub, basically just lets me plug in a lot of stuff on the desk easily without reaching around to the computer and stuff like that. I think it's a 10 port. Gives lots of different connections, not too much usually plugged into it for high bandwidth. Because, I'm sure if I used a lot of high bandwidth stuff, I'd swamp it, but it's mostly keyboard, mouse, and the Elgato Stream Deck. So not a huge number of things that plugged into it, a lot of data going back and forth. So it works pretty well. The front 3 also do have some good charging on it too, so I can plug stuff in there to charge when I need to. Just my photography crystal ball. I had to have some place to put it. You know, it gives me a neat little feature to look at here, but it also is away from the window so it doesn't set the house on fire when it catches the sun. That is a USB-C Qi charging plate, I think from IKEA. Cable that runs in underneath down to a basically a standalone charging station that has basically two outputs. One goes to this Qi charger. The other one goes over to this cable here that kind of runs in underneath and normally just kind of gets a little bit hidden. And yeah, that just gives me USB there. It's a micro USB with a USB-C adapter, so I can pretty much charge most things. If I want to charge a phone there, USB-C chargers for the GoPro batteries when I do that. So that's there. Yeah, that's pretty close to what that is on top here. One other thing up top is hiding in behind. You got a Google Home Mini, or I guess that one's actually a Nest Mini. So is that one. They are set up as a stereo pair. So if I play Spotify or any music or anything like that and cast it through that, I get stereo out of those two. It's pretty nice, fills the room pretty good between the pair of them. Not as good as a real big, good stereo, but for just listening to Spotify while I'm doing work, I mean, it's not bad. If I'm sitting here doing work, it's almost very even left-right for location, so that works really well. Yeah, so now I'll go kind of underneath and give a little shot at how I do cable management. So underneath here, you can see they got the tray set up, connecting into the bottom of this project board. Just allows me to bring the tray in and out. I can run the HDMI cable in underneath there. Lots of outlets left. Over here we've got a bunch of network cables. Basically I've got a network hub right here. There's so many different things I've got plugged in that it was just easier to put a hub on the desk and run some of the cables. Don't worry about this mess here. I had a bunch of things that I had tied up. I had to move something and all kind of fell down. I've got to fix all that again. If I kind of come back in from here, you can see some of the ways I like to kind of cable manage some things. And what I do is I get cable ties, Velcro cable ties, that I screw to the desk. And I'm able to kind of wrap those around wires and things like that and move things around how I want to. And if I space them properly, it can act like a cable tray and just kind of run stuff through. But I can also kind of mix and match where I put them, so I can have more flexibility than a standard cable tray. So I like doing that kind of stuff. Looking down underneath here, yeah, again, ignoring the cables. But yeah, there's one of the speakers down that I got mounted down below. Basically just have a screw into the stand, and then it snaps into the stand. There's the other one there, so they just kind of fire out. There is the charging brick that runs to the Qi charger and that blue cable I was just talking about. Here is my, unfortunately that's kind of in the way right now, cable fell down. But this is my headphone hanger. It is a toilet paper roll holder from IKEA. Just keep my wireless headphones on there, just out of the way. I don't kick them or run my knee into any of this because these legs are in the way. Not so nice room though. And then this guy, this is the USB 3.0 docking station with a loose cable, which is interesting. Yeah, the USB 3.0 docking station, it's made by Targus. I've had it for years. I don't remember what I paid. I suspect it wasn't particularly cheap when I got it because they were not super common at the time. But yeah, it's HDMI out to one of the monitors up top, and the DVI gets, basically this is a DVI to HDMI cable that goes up to one of the other monitors. I got power in and network coming into this guy, so that if I plug anything into the USB cable, I just kind of got hanging here with the Velcro. I can basically pull that Velcro and pull the cable up here through this gap, up onto the desk, and then basically whatever I plug in there will get network and dual monitors right away. So yeah, and then I've got, that's the 2x4 that holds the desk onto the wall. I got a bunch of L brackets being used as basically cable channels, things like that. So it's flexible. I really like using these Velcro ties in this way, just screwing them into the wood if you got good enough wood. Some of the IKEA desks, right, like the ones that are basically corrugated cardboard inside, this isn't going to work great. But if you've got wood or particle board or something like that, this can work nice. Just, of course, make sure your screw doesn't go all the way up through the top. And yeah, this gives you lots of flexibility. Okay, so that's the quick rundown. And I'll have to look and see how this is when edited, because I suspect it wasn't really that quick. But it was a lot of talking real fast. Lots of different ways to do things. Everything's different. I may change things again before too long too, as I'm always trying to tweak things to be something that works really well for me. And that kind of stuff. Like, for example, I do have a device I got midway through the pandemic. Basically put it on top of the desk and it becomes a sit-stand adapter. And I might put it on here for that. I used it for a little while. Except for at the time I had a full-blown docking station for my work laptop at home. It stuck out the side of the laptop, and on the tray where I had it, it basically took up too much room, so I didn't have, it was very restrictive on how much mouse space I have. So I might still change that and use it with this USB-C docking station. All the stuff there in this work desk will fit on that docking station. I can stand it in a docking station, stand desk. So I can stand it. That may be something I still do, may do other changes there as well. So far this is working really well, and I like how that kind of lines up nicely. Other changes, I still kind of want to eventually kind of trim this so that I can sit it down flush with this desk and maybe finish the wood a bit better. But for right now, this works really well. And to do that, I would have to get rid of this desk since it's too high to sit flush with that. Or I'd have to trim some of the bottom of it, and I'm not sure I'm willing to do that. So this is going to stay for right now. This works really well. I got lots of leg space down here. I don't really kick anything, so it's kind of nice even when I'm sitting in there. I wouldn't mind getting my Xbox One S off the floor, mounted to underside somewhere, but you kind of saw underneath there I was running out of room. Let me know if you got any questions about what I've got set up and why I did different decisions. As I said, it's not minimal, and there's a lot of stuff here, but it's made to be flexible, and I bought relatively inexpensive stuff that should last. While I love some of the minimal setups, it can be super expensive to go that minimal. It's nice, this works super great for me. There's other things I'd like to do over time, but it's always going to evolve, and that's the thing once you get into doing different desk setup stuff, you're always looking for the next thing, looking for just that couple more percentage points of efficiency. But anyway, I'm gonna drop that there. Drop a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.